Where to begin with this football game? Oh my. Of all the games the Packers have lost this year, this is probably the most frustrating. This one, the Packers, in my opinion, were clearly the better team coming out of the gate. They were clearly the better team throughout the game, but they ended up losing at 27-24. How did that happen? After the game was over, I looked at the TV and I was like, how did that happen? The Packers had this game. They were making plays left and right. Their defense was getting stops. Their offense was getting big plays. At times, the Packers looked like the Packers of old, especially in the first half. Aaron Jones was getting touches. Everything was working great. Frick, they got a fumble on the first play of the game that they recovered from Seattle, and they converted it a few plays later for a touchdown. Everything was going this team's way. They had a 14-3 lead. How did they lose? It's hard to put any sole blame on anybody, really. I mean, there's so many different things I could talk about, and I'm going to talk about all of it in the highlights and analysis video, but how? How did they lose this football game? I can understand the LA one. I can understand the New England one. I don't understand this one. How did the Packers lose this football game? They had them. They had them right where they wanted them, and yet the Packers lose, and now they are 0-5 on the road, and now next week they have to go to Minnesota to play the Vikings. They're not winning that football game. I'll say that right now. They're not going to win that football game. They had to win this one. They had to win one of two against Minnesota and Seattle. Now they literally have to win out. I mean, they really have to. They can afford maybe one more loss, and even then, 9-6-1, I don't know if that does it. This was a game the Packers had to win, and they didn't. I want to talk about the officials here. They were horrendous tonight. They were. And really, if you think back on it, the Packers and Seahawks, that touchdown that Wilson threw to his tight end would have only been a game-tying touchdown, not a game-winning touchdown. And maybe not even tied the game at all if the Packers had scored on the ensuing drive. But the Baldwin catch that was initially ruled an incompletion that was overturned, that was a horrible call. And that was the moment in the game where everything shifted. The Packers had the field position. Of course, they weren't really moving the ball on offense, but they still had the field position, and they were going to get the ball in good field position because that play, they would have had to punt from their own end zone again. They would have gotten good field position, and the Packers would have most likely had a chance to score some points, maybe even a touchdown. Maybe they go up 10 or 11 points on that drive. Instead, they call it a catch, when the replay clearly shows that he has no control at any point in time of that ball. There is absolutely no evidence that he had any control of that football. If he did, it would have been a catch, but he didn't. Now, I'm not blaming the game solely on that. The Packers have a lot of things that they can blame on themselves. And once again, this is another example of the Packers blowing a game. The Packers, despite that call, still should have won this football game. And as hard as it seems to believe, I look at one guy, Aaron Rodgers. In the late part of this game, he was bad. He was not good. I don't know exactly what his numbers were, but I know that with the exception of the pass that was a phenomenal pass, by the way, to Davante Adams, he was bad. It was a third down, I believe, or maybe a second down. I'm not sure exactly. I think it was a third down, actually. 3rd and 5, inside the Seattle 20. The Packers had a 21-20 advantage. And Rodgers had Aaron Jones wide open. Wide open underneath. Wide open. There was a person near him. What does Aaron Rodgers do? He tucks it under and tries to avoid a sack. All he had to do was flick his wrist out there. Aaron Jones was wide open. All he had to do was flick his wrist out there. Easiest throw of the night. Nobody near him. First down. Maybe even 1st and goal. Instead, he takes the sack. The Packers settle for the field goal. Seattle marches right down the field and scores a game-winning touchdown. Very next possession, the Packers have a chance. First play, he does it again. He misses his wide-open target. He doesn't see his wide-open target or something. Aaron Jones is open. Take the easy yards, man. That's all you got to do. Take the easy yards. He doesn't. He gets I think he gets sacked. Does he get sacked? I can't remember. No, he throws it away. He throws it like 20 yards downfield, throws it away. Next play, he finds MVS, sets up 3rd and short. Then, on that play, Aaron Rodgers has a wide open MVS, and he just misses the throw. It was a throw to the sideline. It was a throw that would have gotten a first down and would have gotten him out of bounds. He misses the throw. For the life of me, I've never seen Aaron Rodgers miss a throw like that. I haven't seen the highlight, so I don't know if it was either tipped at the line or something altered its trajectory. But watching it live, it looked like he just missed the throw. I don't know how he missed it. I don't. And if he doesn't miss it, maybe the Packers are still driving. Maybe they score a touchdown. Maybe they win the football game. Instead, he misses the throw. And if you looked at the stat line tonight, you'd think, well, Aaron Rodgers wasn't the reason they lost that game. He was 21 of 30 for 332 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But it's just the little things like that that cost the Packers so dearly. Not dumping it off to Aaron Jones cost the Packers potentially 4 points on that drive. Not dumping it off to Aaron Jones in the first play might have cost the Packers a chance at getting a drive started. And also, missing MVS wide open in the flat that would have gotten a first down and gotten out of bounds late in the game, that also might have gotten a drive going. And then there was Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has one timeout in his back pocket. Now, that's not exactly his fault for only having one timeout in his back pocket, but he has one timeout. There is 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in this football game. You have your interior defensive line, Daniels and Clark, both out. You have Breland and King not playing. And you have the one timeout. And you only need 2 yards for the first down. It's 4th and 2. What does Mike McCarthy do? He punts the ball away. He punts it away. He punted the chances at winning that football game away. Now, I'm not blaming this solely on Mike McCarthy, but you've got to have to... I don't know how, in your mind, you run through that scenario and say, well, we have a better chance at winning this game if we punt the ball away. I don't know how you run through all the possible outcomes of that particular situation there and say, well, punching the ball would be the better move here. It wasn't. Even when you might say that it's easy to say that in hindsight, but when it was happening, I was shocked that they didn't go for it. They needed 2 yards. They needed 2 yards. He doesn't go for it. He punts it back to them. The Packers don't have several key defensive players. Several key defensive players. They don't have any of them. The 2 best run stoppers on the team, Daniels and Clark, not on the field because they're injured. And McCarthy punts the ball back to them, full well knowing that the Packers don't have their 2 best run stoppers. And Seattle has a fantastic running game. He punts it away. And you also have one timeout, too. So, you'd have to think that drive was probably the last drive that the Packers had a chance at winning. And it ended up being. So, there's that. So far, we've got the officials. The officials called a terrible game today. Terrible game. Cost the Packers points. Or cost... The Packers didn't not score points because of the official. Well, actually, no. There was the pass interference call on Adams. That was clearly pass interference. They didn't call that. I'll get into more of that in the highlights and analysis. So stay tuned for that. They did cost Green Bay chances at points. They gave points to Seattle. I'm not saying this is the reason the Packers lost, but they gave points to Seattle with that terrible call, that terrible overturn call. Still don't know how you look at that replay and say Doug Baldwin caught that football, because he didn't. He simply did not catch that football. So there's that. And then there's Aaron Rodgers playing one of the worst fourth quarters I've seen Aaron Rodgers play in quite some time. He wasn't good in the fourth quarter. He wasn't. Now, there are a few plays where in this game, actually more than a few plays in this game, where Aaron Rodgers was just, where you watched Aaron Rodgers play and he's like, well, that's the Aaron Rodgers I remember. Him throwing across his body and hitting a guy in stride for a touchdown as 4th-string tight end. Incredible stuff to watch. And then there are other plays, like the MVS thing. He just kicks the shit out of the throw. He He just completely boots it. I'm in shock. I was in shock that he missed that throw. I can't believe it. I just can't believe he missed it. So far, the three biggest reasons the Packers lost this game: Mike McCarthy's decision-making, Aaron Rodgers missing throws, missing guys wide open, or being reluctant to throw to wide open guys, I should say, and the officials. Or Mike McCarthy, I can't remember which one I said first, but McCarthy, Rodgers, officials. Who'd have think that Aaron Rodgers might be the biggest reason why we lost this football game, even with his incredible stat line tonight? Who would have thought that? Not me. But yeah, there you have it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, how did the Packers lose this game? How? They had it in full control. Now you can blame the defense for giving up those big yards towards the end and giving the Seahawks a game-winning touchdown and whatever, yada, yada, yada. But the fact of the matter is, the Packers had several chances to win this football game. Some of them were squandered by the officials. Some of them were squandered by Mike McCarthy's decision-making, and some of them were squandered by terrible Aaron Rodgers throws. And also, if you think back towards the beginning of the game, Mason Crosby missed a 47-yard field goal, and the Packers lost by 3. So that's also there. Main theme is the Packers just keep beating themselves. I mean, it's not really anything that the other team is doing in particular that's beating them. It's just them beating themselves. They just continue to not get out. They just continue to get in their own way. Like, if they have a win right there for the taking, right served on a golden platter, they don't take it. Week in and week out, they don't take it. They try and find ways to lose, and they always end up doing so. 3 of the past 4 weeks, guys. 3 of the past 4 weeks. Anyways, guys, though, those are my reactions to this game. I'll have my highlights and analysis out after this one is uploaded, so stay tuned for that. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, go Pack Go.